Hi Margaret, hi Allah.
Oh, hi.
Hello, nice to meet
Hi. So may I ask you if you can see the presentation?
you. Yeah,
Yes,
perfectly.
yes,
Okay, it's visible, right? All right, sounds
yes.
good. Okay, it seems that it is working, so I can just end uh, this one and then can do it this. So
Mm.
hi Margaret,
Hi, Saluk. How are you? I thought
I'm
I'd
doing
missed.
okay. It's nice to see you.
Thank you.
So we still have some couple of minutes, so let's wait a little bit more.
How is Turkey?
Yeah, it's going well. In terms of the weather, we had lots of snow and rain this year.
Okay,
It has been raining for the last, I think, 3 months. Uh,
here too.
yeah. I mean, sometimes, okay, it's good, but like sometimes you would like to do something at outside, you know. Uh,
Yes,
but
exactly.
you have to just reschedule everything. You need to go to the inside.
Yes.
Luckily, in our university, we have the closed arena. Uh,
Okay.
so it's perfect for us, to be honest. So as soon as we just like figure out the rain is coming, then just go inside.
Yeah, I think it's the same every place this year, but I thought Turkey would be beautifully sunny.
Yeah, for the last 1 week, I would say that it's okay, but we still get rain, you know.
Mm.
3 days ago, we got lots of rain. I mean, just 3 days ago, it is little different. I mean, it just rains like very heavily,
Yeah,
but the next day is sunny. So next day you don't see anything. Like everywhere is like dry. Uh, so,
that's
but
okay.
it's okay. Xenia is also here. Hi, Xenia. We cannot hear you, Xenia, but Xenia, we are not still hearing you. Okay, we cannot hear you. I don't know what is the problem. I'm pretty sure that you can hear us, but something is wrong with your microphone, probably. That's okay, Xenia. Take your time. I mean, okay. So let's wait a couple of minutes more, and then we can start. So we are not very crowded, in fact, but if it is okay for you, I would like you to just like briefly, if it is okay for you, if you can just briefly describe or introduce yourself, that would be great so that we can, we can make it more interactive, this meeting, so that it is going to be like, beneficial for all of us. I would appreciate if you can, contribute and then introduce yourself. Looking from if you don't want to, it is not, it's just like, if you want, if you don't want, it is not obligatory to do it. But I will just go and then start with Allah. I'm not sure if I just pronounce your name good.
Correctly, yeah. So thank you for this opportunity. Actually, I'm firstly on this kind of meeting, and it's an honor for me to be among colleagues, people who work in the area of ESA and EAS, sorry, I'm just looking at
Yes,
EAS.
that's okay. That's
Yeah,
okay.
and to see colleagues and people who are in love with horses. So I am from Ukraine. My name is Alla Bachevar. I'm hippotherapist and founder of Shine, Center of Psychology and Self-Development. So me and my team, we developed a comprehensive program of psychological support for military personnel, veterans, and family members based on equine assisted services. So for us, it's a good opportunity to take this challenge, considering the conditions we live in right now, the whole of our country. Yeah, and I guess for a community of professionals, it also be maybe a good information for how to cope with this category of people, because traumatic experience of military men, veterans are really in a high level. So equine-assisted services work perfectly with this category of people, and we have experienced since 2022 and a lot of good results. So I will be happy to share it with you too.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Allah, for your introducing yourself and your association. It's great. So basically, you're working mostly in psychological, you have psychological background, and then you are applying equine-assisted psychotherapy mostly, as far as I understood. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your introduction. And then I would like to go next with Margaret. If you can briefly introduce yourself, Margaret, that would be great.
I'm a physiotherapist in Ireland, and I have retired from my work in hospital, which was MSK, musculoskeletal. And so now I volunteer with Riding for Disabled here in Ireland, and I train their volunteers. And I'm part of a group here in Galway on the West Coast. We see mostly, the cohort has changed a lot in recent years. We used to see a lot of people with physical disability.
Mm-hmm.
No, we see mostly people with autism and intellectual disability,
Yeah.
which is not my primary area, but that is how it is. And that's how it is all over the country and in the UK, I think probably as well. So I see quite a few people, but I don't have a practice myself.
Okay.
That is my involvement.
Okay. Thank you.
I've
Thank you,
always
Margaret.
had horses, so I always had an interest in that, and I, for many, many years, provided horses for the local Riding for Disabled group.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Thank you. But you are, contributing to the field, as far as I can see. Thanks a lot for your support.
thank you.
So we can go next with the Tongshen.
Hi. I'm a physical therapy from China, and I also a lecturer of traditional Chinese medicine university. So I'm really new to this area. I just tried to practice in this year, January. So I'm really new, and I'm appreciate to learn from you guys all. Thank you.
Oh, thanks. Thanks for being here, Tong. Thank you. So, Valeria?
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Valeria Bashtanik. I'm from Ukraine too.
Oh, nice.
I am the secretary of Ukrainian Association of Hippotherapists. We are HETI members since 2019. I have got cerebral palsy, So I have been with horses since 4 years old, for 21 years for now, and I am a psychologist in my education, and I'm very interested in physical horse riding, physical therapy on a horse, and horse equine psychological therapy. I'm very keen on it, and
Oh, perfect. Yeah, it
yes,
is.
and our association, we work with children with different disabilities. We work with military, and we work with adults with disabilities. So the main goal is to give them more to remove their self-consciousness and to give them more opportunity to feel themselves, not
Yeah.
in only physical way, but in psychological way too.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
exactly.
not so long ago, I had been participating in uh, our first competition in para dressage in Kiev. So
Perfect. Perfect.
first in maybe 9 years. So that's how it's going. Sorry, I couldn't introduce myself before because we had I
No, that's
alert.
okay, Valeria.
I just decided to cut off my my microphone to not everyone to hear
No, no,
this
that's okay,
sound.
Valeria. As far as I can see, you are a rider, you are a competitor, you are an instructor.
Marina, capăt nu
You have lots of experience. So basically, congratulations. So that's great. That's great to hear. Thank you. I
Thank you.
appreciate it. Yeah. So I got a message from Deborah Button. She's from UK, but she's currently studying Equine-Assisted Services with a background of teaching primary age children. Currently, she's having some problems with her microphone, so she just wanted to send a message to the chat box just to introduce herself. Thank you, Deborah. Irma.
Hi, I'm Irma. I'm taking the freedom to be on two sides because if you do slides, I can see it better on the computer rather than a small
That's okay.
mobile phone.
Yeah.
But I'm a physiotherapist. I live in England, UK, and do equine-assisted physiotherapy in the widest sense. So hippotherapy on horseback and but all the other things as well, being involved with riding, etc. I also happen to be the national representative for ECPI, which is our covering organization. So yeah, you might see more of me in international circles.
That's great. That's great,
And
Irma.
if
Thank
there's
you.
anything like, I would be, happy to
Thank you. Yeah,
passing
thank you,
on.
Irma. Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, thanks for being here today with us. Yeah, thank you. Xenia, I can see that you probably solved your problems with your microphone.
Yes, hopefully. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Thank
you
you very
now.
much. Should I introduce myself?
Yeah, a little bit,
Okay.
yes, briefly.
My name is Ksenia Svobodova. I'm from Czech Republic, Prague. I am working in a Czech Equine Facilitated Services Association as methodologist, and personally I am involved in equine-assisted psychotherapy, and also I am now involved in introducing a new modality, which is equine-assisted coaching in our association.
Perfect.
So I'm very happy to be here and to listen.
Yeah, thank you.
And
Thank
I'm
you,
happy
Xenia.
to see the people from Ukraine that you are working with, supporting military people with this nice,
Yeah.
with this nice work. This is great. Thank you.
Thank you, Xenia. Thanks a lot. So I would like to introduce Hefa Jonfeld. She's in our HETI executive board. So she lives in Sweden. She's a professor working at the university. So Hefa, I
Yes.
just like shortly introduced you,
Yeah.
but you can go ahead and then.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's right. I'm a professor at Halmstad University in Sweden, and I also have a little farm with 2 horses, and they are helping me to help people with schizophrenia on my free time. So, and I'm also studying these progressions among these people. So I have 10 scientific studies now regarding horse-assisted activities. So I'm excited about it. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Hefa. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Yeah. I got also a message from Carol Hugel. She's from the United States. She lives in Philadelphia. But because of the time differences, it's very, very early. And I just like thank you, Carol, for being here with us. She's a physical therapist who has been incorporating hippotherapy since 1980s. And so on the American Hippotherapy Association. So thank you for being here with us. It is not a good time for you, but thanks again. We have Seiji Miyasaka. If she
Hi,
would
hello.
yeah.
Sure. Hi, everyone.
Ah,
My name is Seiji Miyasaka. I'm from Tokyo, Japan. I'm representing the horse-related group in Japan, JTRA, Japan Therapeutic Riding Association. We started this activity 20 years ago, and Professor Takisaka used to be the head of this group, and I took over his role from this year. So today is my first experience to join the HETI program.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Thank you, Say, to be with us. Thanks a lot. So, thanks for everybody for introducing themselves. So, let me just briefly introduce myself. My name is Selçuk Akpınar. I am also one of the HETI Executive Committee board member. I live in Turkey. I am a full professor at the Faculty of Sports Science in Nevşehir Hacı Bektaş Veli University. I am a sports scientist. Mostly my research area mostly focus on the motor learning and motor control and development. So we have also at the university Equine Horseback Riding Application and Research Center. So basically in this center, in this Equine Horseback Riding Application and Research Center, we also implement some equine-assisted services. Basically, our work mostly focus on the adaptive riding, equine-assisted learning, and recently, in fact, for the last 1.5 years, we started to implement para-equestrian sports, especially para-vaulting. Para-vaulting is very famous in Czech Republic, in some European countries. So we wanted to also implement these sports activities in our center. It is going pretty well, and we do have a small laboratory where we do some measurements, and we also do research about equine-assisted services. And I have, together with my colleagues, I have a couple of research articles in this field, in the topic. So today, what I will do is basically I will try to make a bridge in between the practice and evidence, especially the research. And I would like to give you some, not too many, but some examples, especially the simple measurement tools that we can use in our services. After introducing myself and the title of the presentation, I would like to start my presentation now, and I would like to start with a question that we all know that, I mean, almost everybody here in this meeting, they work in equine-assisted services, and then we all know that, in fact, equine-assisted services works, it helps. It helps people who needs, who with the special needs. So basically, looking at this site, that I don't know if you are aware of this HHRF, Horses and Humans Research Foundation. It's a foundation located in the United States, and their purpose is to provide education and research funds to the people working in equine-assisted services. So basically, they are trying to help associations like the centers to increase their quality of services. So recently, I think 1 year ago, they created a repository. This repository is specifically focused on the publications in equine-assisted services, as well as equine well-being. So basically, if you click on this link, and then if you go to the web page, you will see the publications, like research articles mostly, about this topic only. Okay? And then yesterday, I checked, frequently I check the web page, and then I just instead of going to some databases and Google to ask the recent articles, recent publications, I go to this Science Open from HHRF, and I go there and I look to recent publications from there, because they collect the only articles from this area, from this topic, which is very helpful for us. So yesterday there was 1,214 publications at Science Open in this topic. So it is a lot of, in fact, publications. But the main question still a little bit remains that, but as a practitioners, as a trainers, as an instructors, can we demonstrate all this research clearly? So this is the main question. And when we go further a little bit with the core problems, we can see that, in fact, we have the problems in some subdomains, but overall, I can say that I will go deeply in the subtitles, but we have strong experiences as a practitioners. If we go to the centers or in working in the equine-assisted services, we can see that there are these instructors, these trainers, they have strong experiences, and they get lots of feedbacks from parents, from the clients, from observers, like different people. And but are we still using the scientific evidence, and are we just making some standardized measurements in our services? These are the core problems that we can go. And especially for the strong experiences, one of the greatest strengths of equine-assisted services is the powerful change that practitioners witness every day. We know that, yes. And instructors, therapists, and facilitators frequently observe improvements in confidence, communication, emotional regulation, social interactions, and including engagements. And families often report meaningful changes that extend beyond the riding arena into everyday life. This is also very good. But these experiences are authentic, valuable, and often transformative. Yes, perfect. However, they are primarily based on the observation. And sometimes we can say that it is more subjective, personal accounts, and just like professional judgments. While these stories provide compelling evidence of impact, they are often difficult to compare, quantity, or communicate to external stakeholders such as researchers, funders, healthcare professionals, and policy makers. So what we need to do? Although this evidence base for equine-assisted services continues to grow, as I showed you in the previous slides, that 1,214 publications in the literature in this domain, significant challenges still remains. Studies often use different outcome measures, different participant groups, and different interventions protocols. And this makes it difficult to compare findings across programs and also across the countries. So in many cases, practitioners do not have access to simple, validated tools that can be used consistently in real-world scenarios. As a result, we sometimes struggle to translate the powerful changes we observe into data that can be easily understood by researchers, healthcare systems, or funding organizations, because you need to also go to the funders that we need some support. We need some support for doing our practices during for our sessions, for our practices. But we need to show some proof, so for this proof, it needs to be structured and well designed, and proof, so that the funding organization can say that, oh, okay, yes, you have this proof, then I might also support you financially. In many ways, the field has advanced through innovation and experience. Practitioners have developed highly effective approaches based on years of working with horses and participants. However, research often lags behind practice. Many programs are producing meaningful outcomes, but those outcomes are not always being systematically documented. And this creates a gap between what we know from experience and what we can demonstrate scientifically. So what is the solution? To make a bridge between practice and evidence. So the question here in this case is not whether equine-assisted services create change. The question is how we can document that change in a way that is practical for practitioners and credible for researchers. And if we by any chance, by adopting simple and feasible measurement strategies, we can begin to bridge the gap between powerful lived experiences and scientific evidence. This is the main idea of this presentation today. And why we need to do the measurements? Why it is important in equine-assisted services? Because to be honest, like as a researcher and also as a practitioner, I can say that tracking progress is not just a best practice, it's a necessity. Whether we are dealing with, it doesn't matter in which domain we are working, like, adaptive riding, hippotherapy, equine-assisted psychotherapy, learning, it doesn't matter, or para-equestrian sports also including. Everybody wants to see measurable outcomes. And to do some measurements, this allows us to evaluate impact, identify areas of improvement, and reinforce the evidence base of our services. It also enables a feedback loop to better serve our clients. So basically, we need to also sometimes evaluate our services. If we do not evaluate our services, we are not going to be aware of if we are doing good or bad. I mean, it's like, beneficial for the clients, for the people, is beneficial or not. So we cannot do it. So we need to have some evaluation, some measurements to make kind of like a, comparison in between the, about the progression, about the program. So it is really a need for everybody. However, when we look at the reality in the field, of course, everybody has some limited time, limited training for what kind of measurements I'm gonna do. If I need any kind of equipments, if I need the equipments, then I need to also arrange some kind of like, financial funds for that. And then, how I'm gonna find the money to buy those kind of equipments, things like that. So it is really not easy. And the other thing is also we have the diverse participants. We have the clients with like, special needs, but individually, everybody is different than the others. So we need to make kind of like, you know, a combination of the group of people so that we can just make the comparisons. This is also a difficult part, and the outcome is always very complex. But what is the ideal? What is the ideal and feasible or simple? The ideal data collection is not often like feasible. So we need to find some ways to do it. And this is the reality in the field when we look at the field. There are still, when we look at the field, sometimes we can observe and we can see some common mistakes that, you know, sometimes people are doing too much measurements, and also it is very difficult. Okay, you can get sometimes better outcome with some better equipments, let's say, but it is too complex for the practitioner or for the trainer to implement and to use these tools. In fact, it is really very difficult for them sometimes. And again, inconsistent usage of these equipments, because you need to set some certain times, for instance, to make the measurements. It is not, oh, okay, I forgot to make the measurements last week, but let's do it now. It's not working this way. So you have to plan everything in advance. And in fact, this is what the methodology in the research is. So basically, we should also avoid the inconsistent usage of these measurement tools. So, of course, we have the qualitative measurements and we have the quantitative measurements that we can do in our centers. So one here is an example. This is an observational example, for instance. It is called in the literature goal attainment scaling. So we can develop our observational or this goal attainment scaling with ourselves. Here, for instance, this is you know, kind of a little bit changed by myself. For instance, here is the goal to sit independently for 1 minute during walking phase, and you can make a, you know, scale, 5-point scale. 0 is sits 1 minute. If you increase the duration, then you can increase the scaling point, and you can make like kind of like a outcome. And yeah, I mean, for instance, using this kind of goal attainment scaling, we assign a baseline and track the progress over time. A child, for instance, initially who started with -2 can now be at 0 or +1 after several weeks. It makes goal tracking flexible and individualized. This approach is very effective in setting where outcomes vary significantly per participant. So this is for, of course, the individual, and you can also, you know, implement this kind of observational methods into your center, into your association. However, apart from these observational examples, I will go with the now some qualitative measurements. And one valid and reliable measurement is the reaction time measurement. Normally, if you go and then look at the literature, of course, if you have a computer and a screen, so you can do the reaction time test very easily. But let's assume that you don't have the access, and in your center, you don't. I mean, it is not very feasible for the for the clients to do the reaction time test in front of the computer. Then we have a valid and reliable test for to measure the reaction time. It is called the ruler drop test. Here, in fact, the only thing that you need is just like a 30 centimeter ruler and a table and a chair. That's it. Apart from that, you don't need anything. And here there is a video. Comfortably. Here, for instance, the participant should sit like in a relaxed chair, and then his or her dominant arm should stand on the table, but the wrist and the hand should be off edge the table. So let's see how it is measured. So that only the fingers and thumb extend beyond. Fingers and thumb should at least 1 inch apart. Catch the ruler with the thumb and index finger without lifting the elbow from the desk as the partner drops the stick. Hold the stick while the partner reads the measurement. Do these tries. So yeah, I mean, this is very simple test, in fact, to measure the reaction time. And it is for the kids, it's really very challenging. Fingers of the performer. Hold the. Yeah, as you can see, it is really very easy. And, I mean, especially for the kids, it's really very challenging. And then they would like to try it more, So for them, of course, depending on the disability, maybe for some client, it may not be possible or feasible to test, to make this like measurement with them. But overall, for many clients, for the disabled people, it can be used. And then there is like a very simple, formula here, as you can see on the screen, that you can also calculate the reaction time with the milliseconds. So it is very feasible measurement, and it is reliable measurement. Here, I just wanted to give one example from a scientific article using the reaction time, the ruler drop reaction time test. So, for instance, this one, we can use it, and it is like, you don't need to be an expert to make this measurement, to be honest. You need to just understand to conduct the test. You need to understand how you're supposed to do it, and that's it. And it is really very easy and feasible to do this measurement. So this is one measurement that we can do in our centers. The second one is, this one is called, by the way, most of the physiotherapists, they probably know these tests, these tools, and also because the physiotherapists, they use it like with the disabled people many times. So the other test that I wanted to present to you today is this 9-hole peg test. This is mostly used for the fine motor coordination for the upper extremity functions. And let me show you the video. Yeah, as you can see, the person should be positioned to the backboard, and the child should use the hand not being tested to stabilize the board, because it just like it doesn't allow to slide the board to the sides, or like to move. So the assessment again is very easy. Here in this test, we can test both hands separately. It is very easy task. So the only thing that you need to do to hold the pegs and then put it into the holes, and you just like calculate the time. They need to first put all the pegs into the holes and then collect the pegs again and put it into the place. So you calculate the time. Yeah, you fill out the holes. Then you need to take them all out one time for each. And as soon as the last one was put into the place, then you just stop the time. So this can be done with both hands. I said that. So it is again very simple. It is really very simple tool, and you can either make it up by yourself. This like peg test, this 9-hole peg test. For instance, we didn't buy it, but we did it with the wood, you know. So and it is not difficult to make it up. So this is what we are also using to test the fine motor coordination. It is also with the eye-hand coordination too, and it is really very easy to implement to this test. And again, you know, this 9-hole peg test used for many ages, like, you know, different types of ages and also different types of disabilities. And this is only one example from the Journal of Hand Therapy. So it is valid and reliable test that we can use. Another example, depending on the client, of course, if they can make it or not make it. Another example that we can do is the physical fitness test. It is the balance test, the flamingo test. It's also reliable and valid measurement. It is a single leg balance. It measures the single leg balance. And basically in this test, it is a static, it measures the static balance. In this test, basically, you need to just have one watch, a stopwatch, and also you need to have this balance beam. It can be metal or it can be wood, and this is the properties of this balance beam. And you can probably, if you go to carpenter, you can just make it like very easily, or you can do it by yourself. This is what we did, in fact. The only thing is you need to stick with the measurements. So it is really, you know, for the static balance, it is really also very valid and widely used in the literature. And you can test the legs, you know, separately, and you can test the dominant and non-dominant leg also in this test. Again, for instance, I found one study with the Down syndrome kids, so using the flamingo test. So it is used with the, you know, disability, with the disabled population. So this can be also another option for us to measure the balance. So let's move the other one. This is mostly used with the elderly population, but also this test also used with the different age groups, different age categories and genders also. This is timed up and go test. This is a clinical assessment used to measure an individual's functional mobility, balance, and also walking capability. Let's watch the video. Probably you saw it earlier, but you know, let me just show you the video. Here, what you need is a chair, a tape, and then you know, you need to make a 3-meter distance, and that's it. Apart from that, nothing else.
The patient to start the test, you will start the stopwatch and only stop it until the patient is seated again. Okay, Kai, you may start.
And that's it, So basically, it's a very simple.
Round and one round is tied.
So it's a very simple test again, and as I told you that it's used in different population and different age groups. So this could be also very simple and feasible test to measure.
Patients to start the test, you will start.
And this is also one study which used the time up and go test. And with different ages, in fact, so with different age groups, so it has been used, it has been using with different ages too. So next one that I will talk is again a physical fitness parameter, and this is also flexibility. It measures the flexibility as for the lower back and hamstring muscle. This is, we have the sit and reach test. Normally we use mostly for the flexibility with the healthy population, but for the population with special needs, in the Special Olympics, they just modified the sit and reach test, and this is how it looked like.
The modified sit and reach test. This test helps measure lower body flexibility, especially in the hamstrings and lower back. The goal of this test is to reach forward as far as possible in a seated position, with knees fully extended and feet apart. Before you begin, make sure you have these supplies: a measuring tape, floor tape or chalk, and a sit and reach flexibility box.
If you have it.
To begin, create a line on the floor using tape that measures 24 inches in length. This will be your measuring line. Then add a second piece of tape 10 inches from the start of the first tape.
Yeah,
place it
approximately 30 centimeters. Yeah.
To create a lowercase t shape. This will be your baseline. Ask the athlete to sit with their legs straight and apart, making a V shape. Their feet should be flexed. They should be sitting with their heels just behind the baseline. The measuring line should be between their legs. Ask the athlete to reach their arms out in front with one hand on top of the other and the fingertips on the measuring line. The athlete will slide their fingers slowly along the tape as they stretch forward, keeping their legs straight. They should not bounce. Let the athlete try 2 to 3 slow reaches before testing. Give simple feedback, like keep your legs straight or reach forward slowly. When you're ready, say, take a breath in, then reach forward slowly as you breathe out. Hold your reach until I record your score. Ready? Go. Measure the distance reached by the fingertips in inches or centimeters. If it's before the baseline, record the distance as a negative number. If it's past the baseline, record the distance as a positive number. Repeat the test 3 times with at least 30 seconds of rest between each attempt. If the athlete can't fully straighten their legs, modify the test and allow a slight bend in their knees. Record this in the notes section of the score sheet. Make it fun. Place a coin or a fun object like a stuffed animal at the end of the measuring tape.
Yeah, it's also a very good idea to put some stuffed animal.
Stretch targets.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, this is another test that we can definitely easily use it, and it is like very feasible to be honest, and we can do the measurement almost everywhere. If you don't need to have a sports hall like or big hall to do the measurement. If you have a an office also, you can do it. So basically, this was another parameter that we can measure in our center.
We will show you.
And this is the I can give you the citation that shows the modified sit-and-reach test is used in, can be used as a valid and reliable instrument for disabled people. So this is the reference that we can have. And from yes, yeah. So today, in fact, this was the last measurement tool or measurement procedures that I wanted to show you. In total, I think 5 different types of measurements that we can implement in our centers, in our associations. So basically, I didn't want to include some more measurements, but if you would like to learn, I mean, you are mostly physiotherapists, so probably better than me about the measurements, but I just wanted to show you today the ones very simple and feasible, and the ones which has been used in the literature widely as a valid and reliable instrument to do the research. Before finish my presentation, we know that we have some challenges and considerations, and we know that each method has its challenge. We can use in this today. In fact, I didn't talk too much about the quantitative measurements, but qualitative measurements, but in fact, each method can have some positive or negative influences, but we need to know the limitations and how we can use those kind of equipments. Despite all of these challenges, we can even modest evaluations can provide meaningful insights, and we need to start simple and feasible measurements, and we need to just increase our level. For instance, in my case, I can say that we have a small laboratory. As I work at the university, we have some small motor control laboratory, and we do different types of measurements with the some high-level technological equipments. We have, for instance, in our laboratory, for instance, we have some equipment which measures the anticipation timing, and in the disabled population, this anticipation timing is really worse compared to the healthy population. So basically, it is a perceptual ability. We can increase in some level, but for instance, in order to measure this kind of perceptual abilities, you need to have some certain equipments. It is not easy to get it, and it costs some some amount of budget. But as I told you that in my case, it's very easy, and the laboratory and our center is also located in the campus. So for me, it is very easy to take the kids from the center to the laboratory, or sometimes we can bring some equipments. We can take some equipments from our laboratory to the center, and we can do the measurements over there. But this kind of measurements that I showed you today, it's really very simple and feasible measurements that we can do, we can implement, and we can just observe. I mean, we can do it like regularly for some period of time, and then we can just observe the differences if we have. So, and we have, the ethical considerations also another point. If you would like to do a research, of course, in any kind of research, we need to get the ethical approval from some executive board of the university mostly. So this cannot be by itself done with the practitioners or trainers in the centers. So the trainers and practitioners needs to collaborate with the people at the university, and if they would like to conduct a research, they need to get the ethical approval from the university first. And to be honest, in our case, for instance, in my case, I can say that if you are working with the disabled people and with the horses, and you need to define everything very clearly in order to get this ethical approval. Otherwise, it is really very difficult. The safety in the research, of course, I didn't talk about the safety, regulations in each center, but this is one of the most important issue with the ethical boards of the university. If the participants will be safe, so when we write the application, we need to write in a way that they will definitely understand, and we need to be sure that there will not be any kind of problem for understanding and not to have any kind of safety issue. So these are the challenges. But again, saying that, I mean, as a practitioner, as a trainer, as an instructor, so the focus may not be only to do the research, but the focus would be how I can make the measurements with my clients so that I can observe and I can get some data in my hands so that I can see if there is any kind of improvement. That is the main point to show everybody that this equine assisted really works. And thank you for your attention and participation for this today HETI meeting. And if you have any kind of questions, I would be very happy to answer. And as far as I can say that from the audiences, there are also some people I can say if there will be any question, they can also help me on that. So thank you for being here today with us. Any contribution, any question would be appreciated. And yes, Valeria.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting. Thank you very much, because we were thinking about measurements of different clients and researchers in hippotherapy, in their conditions. So I can say it's like a question, but I thought about different ways of measurement, because for example, most of children I saw in rehabilitation centers, they couldn't do such measurements because they are not body able for these measurements. And the next question started from that we don't have a list of measurements, or what should we put in our in
I know what you mean, Valeria.
Yes,
exactly.
yes, because I know it's different categories, it's different people, it's different needs in their body, in their mind, and we firstly, I know that we should separate them in small groups, which group has different disabilities. But another question is, how can we measure, and which measurements should we use to other people to do this, to understand that it's scientifically correct? Sorry for my English.
No, that's okay. That's okay. That's okay, Valeria. I was just looking at the chat, but I totally understood your question. This is the most difficult part and the challenging part. So first of all, when you are trying to make a measurement, initially, let's start with this one. So first of all, what kind of measurements tools that you should supposed to have? This is the first question you asked. So this is a very good question. And this depends on your clients. So first of all, for instance, if you have a client with paraplegia or diplegia, so if, for instance, you cannot make any measurements with the one upper arm, let's say, okay, so you gotta do it with the other one. Okay, what kind of measurements you can do with the arm? As I showed you that, for instance, reaction time, the ruler drop reaction time test, you can do it, you know. And this 9-hole pack hole test, for instance, again, you can also use it just to see if there is there will be any kind of improvements throughout your session, your practices. Okay, so this is the difficult part, to initially decide about the measurement tools. This is the first thing. And the other thing is, of course, to group or categorize the participants, the clients. Categorizing the clients will be, will be depending on the, for instance, me, myself, I cannot decide it by myself because I'm not a therapist. Okay, so I get the prescription, or I get the information from the either orthopedist or the physical therapist, to categorize and to group them. In your case, you are a psychologist. You cannot also do it by yourself. If you are gonna make any kind of physical tests, let's say motor tests, okay? For the cognitive or emotional test, you can also decide, okay? But for the motor tests, you cannot do it, okay?
Yes.
You need to get the information, or you need to get the approval from the therapists,
Yes,
from
I
the
understand.
physicians, okay? This is other thing that you need to do. And the other thing is, of course, the implementing the test. It is not also easy. Even these ruler draw test, for instance, we have the Down syndrome kids with the mild intellectual disability, okay? So you need to show them, you need to explain them, they need to try. Normally, they need to make like 1 or 2 initial trials, not the experimental trials, but you can make one more trial, just like to get familiarized for them. All right. So that is the challenges, Valeria. But apart from these challenges, we can, as you saw, that we can always find some ways, especially this goal attaining scaling. It is really, it is really applicable for all individual, because you make it like individually. You make the measurements, or you set the goals individually. So that is also very helpful. And we have also some comments in the chat box. For instance, Maria Liga, she says that measurements generally keep the interest high for both therapists and clients. I totally agree. And Irma also points out that it is also useful to measure some activity which is important to the client rather than measuring range of movement. Totally agree. Like doing goal attainment scaling of the horse. Exactly. And regarding this goal attaining scaling, for instance, I can say that in Germany, a group of scientists, they developed an application, an app. So you can download it to your mobile phone, and you can just record some of your session, and this application would be able to tell you about the sitting position, the position of the hands, the position of the legs, things like that. So there are these kind of tools that we can use, Valeria, and this is also individual, by the way. So, but for instance, that application is paid. You need to pay a little bit, but after you get this application, Irma, I can check. I knew it, but it is not, from the top of my head, I cannot remember the application. But if you send me an email, or if you send an email to HETI office, I would be very happy to reply to you to give this the name of this application. And Carol from the United States, she said that when determining an objective measure, it should depend upon the goals you have for the client and what you would address, discipline dependent, if you didn't have the horse. Yeah, so I agree to Carol, and Hefa also raising her hand. So I would like to give the words to Hefa. She can also contribute on that too.
Yes, I'm not sure if I can contribute to that, but my opinion is thank you very much for a really good presentation. My most strong impression is that it's a very good advice to make it simple and that it is really important to be able to measure the effects that you can have. You can achieve by horse-assisted activities in any way, because as you said, we all know that it is good, but it's hard to measure it and make it to evidence. So that's really good and inspiring. You can make it easy and maybe find your own way to measure it in numbers and figures, so that you can say that you know, and you can make people understand that it's helpful. That's good.
Yeah, exactly, Hefa. I mean, the bottom line is just like, as I showed in my presentation, we know that, the question is not, we know, like, whether the Equine-Assisted Services is beneficial or not. We know that. But the importance is the question, how we are gonna show it,
Yes.
So basically, in this aspect, I can say that following the research methodology, I'm not saying that, oh, everybody should go and do the research. I'm not saying that, but the idea is to find some feasible, simple measurements so that I can implement and I can show either qualitative or quantitative. It doesn't matter. So that we can show to everybody, show to family, show to client, show to doctor, show to policymakers, So basically, it would be very helpful for everybody to follow the education and research so that it can increase the quality. This is the most important, that it will definitely increase the quality of our services.
Absolutely.
Yes, so Valeria just send the information, right, son? Okay, this is if Fascia Innovation Sweden. I'm not sure, Valeria, if it is this one. It's supposed to be from the German. No, it is not this one. I'm 100% sure this is not the one, but I will definitely find it, and then I will, if you just send me an email, I can definitely reply to you with the name of it and with the link of the application. Yeah. Any other comments, contribution, and question? You are very welcome. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'm very happy to have you here today in my talk. And by the way, if you would like to do some collaboration and cooperation, this is the vision of the HETI, by the way. Connect, communicate, and collaborate. So basically, if you would like to do a research, now we are doing paravolting activities in our center. For instance, if you have similar types of para-equestrian sports, and not maybe paravolting, but different types of para-equestrian sport, for instance, para-dressage, we can make a kind of like a collaboration, and then we can set some measurement tools that can be done in both sides or the other sides, so that to see the effects, to participating in different kind of para-equestrian sports, what kind of effects we are getting. So things like that. I mean, it just like triggered my mind, and then I just wanted to tell you about these opportunities. This way, in fact, we can increase our quality, and also we can also improve the research and science. Okay, it's almost more than 1 hour now. I really thank you for your participation, and hope to see you for our next HETI Live and HETI webinars. And I would like to also send my regards to you, and then hope to see you next time again.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sajid. Yeah.